Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror PSA presented by Scary Nerd, and as always, we are your hosts. I'm Paul.
I'm Saul.
And I'm Angie.
The following is a public service announcement.
A drifter discovers a pair of sunglasses that allow him to wake up to the fact that aliens have taken over the Earth. We watched 1988's John Carpenter classic, They Live. Welcome back, everybody.
Yes, welcome back.
Welcome back. It's been a rough couple weeks, but we're still here for you. And we watched They Live because it seems like we're living this movie right now.
Obey us and consume our podcast.
Now do you see why I said we should have done this one? Because it makes absolute sense with everything that's going on right now.
Obey and consume. Obey and consume.
But yeah, I love this movie.
It's so great.
I've always felt this was Carpenter's like science fiction Western type of movie.
Yeah.
Because it's really is you got the guy with no name who literally is named nothing.
Nada.
Yeah.
But that's actually the character from the short story, I guess, was his last name was Nada. So it's kind of a nod to that. And also I feel like double-edged sword with Carpenter making this kind of a science fiction Western. You get, like I said, the guy with no name rolls into town. You don't know anything about him, and all of a sudden he finds the trouble. You walk in and assume that he's gonna, find something and something's gonna happen, and a lot of shit happens. So yeah, it's like a Western for me. It's like but science fiction Western. The music really lends to that. I think
it does.
Carpenter's always used his music as his score as like just another character altogether, and I think that's really. It was the last collaboration that he had with Alan Howarth, actually. I read that.
That's the other thing that stands out to me a lot in this movie is the music, because you have that weird little thumping bass.
It's like menacing and Western at the same time, and like you're like, what's going to happen? It's like it's like building up to something.
Yeah,
I totally was not like, this is a Western.
I was.
It
was not.
It has those vibes. to give Paul his credit, it does have those.
I was like, is this movie about men who don't know how to have friends? Because they don't know how to be friends.
No way. Because this is like almost because there's subtle hints of like comedy in it too, with the dynamic between the two of them. Because it's so like it's not like a buddy cop movie because they're not cops or anything, but it still has that buddy hero dynamic.
Yes, and I love it because they're so inept at being friends with each other. Like even when he first meets Keith David's character, like he just follows him like he's a lost puppy.
No, I wrote that down. I wrote that down too because it was like, I don't like guys following me. He's like, well, I don't like going with people unless I know where they're going first. And I'm like, they had that moment where they were just like, that macho BS buddy comedy moment that they had that started their friendship. And I think the thing about it is because Carpenter wanted Keith David's character, Frank, he wanted somebody who was not like a traditional sidekick to Nada. Yeah. He wanted someone that could be, a companion and kind of hold his own. Like if anything happened, he could lead the movie as well, So it was like he wanted them to kind of almost be equals in like that sense. And I think that really lends to that dynamic, how they're kind of just that macho bullshit at the beginning.
I love their dynamic because like I said, it's like two dudes who are both the alphas who's never had to make friends with another alpha before.
Yeah.
And like they don't know how to do it. So they're both trying to be like domineering, but it's not working for either two.
Each one keeps trying to top the other because of the macho alpha, like you said. It's like, what can I say to him to kind of put him in his place? And then the other one's like, oh, I'm going to do this to put him in his place now. Mm-hmm. So it's just like a constant one-upsmanship. Which
makes sense when you get to the fight scene. I was like, there's no way that it would have gone down to where one of them would have been reasonable. I'm like, all right, I'll just put him on.
No, the fight scene is amazing. Do we want to get into the fight scene now?
Should we just start at the beginning?
Let's just start at the beginning.
So yes, as we said, Roddy Piper is walking along as a hobo. Just walking along with his backpack.
Than a hobo, isn't he?
He's a drifter looking for work.
I called them hobos all the time.
He strolls into town and straight into the unemployment office.
We had this discussion before, Angie. Remember one of the other podcasts, the difference between a drifter and a hobo?
That was the train?
Yeah, the train.
Yeah, well, they have a whole hobo camp, though, so it's a hobo. They've got a whole, like...
he was walking around train tracks, so yeah, technically he's like a drifter hobo.
What was that town called in...
You gotta give Angie a minute. She's thinking.
Roosevelt.
You can tell
I've had too much weed.
Roosevelt. Wait, are we thinking the Great Depression era?
Yeah, like there's the town they set up, like Hoover Towns or something.
Hooverville.
Like Hoovervilles. Yes, the Hoovervilles were like they just set up a new little shit shanty city in the middle of cities, you know? Like, that's exactly what it was. It's like, oh, poor people can't afford to live anywhere, but the jobs are all here still. So we're just going to create our own little city in this abandoned lot.
Yeah, they had like a whole setup there. There was like, they had like meals and shit. And he was like, oh, you can help fix us the shower. I'm like, there's a fucking shower? Like,
I know.
Jesus,
There's like a whole little city within a city just for poor people. It's basically what it was.
It was pretty nice setup for a while, I guess.
And they had a food line. Like, they had everything going.
They had a TV.
Yeah, they did. I love that the hacker like starts cutting in.
Yeah.
And immediately, like, you just get glimpses of what he's trying to say. So it's like signals, blah, 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 blah. Like, you don't really hear anything.
I love how when he does cut in, everybody all of a sudden starts getting a headache.
Yes, they immediately feel like something's off.
What was with when they're watching TV that first night at the shanty town or whatever? What was with that weird like bromance mustache mullet football game that they were watching in that commercial?
I don't know.
Because those were some weird ass fucking commercials and all of this.
You know what those commercials took me back to?
Stuff. They were like very stuff commercials.
Yes, they very much were.
Like I was half expecting to see one.
I said it in the Stuff podcast, but I'm like a updated version of Stuff and They Live Together. Like that would be a great movie.
It would.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. But the hobo camp is conveniently right next to this super suspicious church.
Yeah. Hey, wait. Which church is not suspicious? All right. I look at
Our
every
church is suspicious?
Yes.
You find them suspicious?
Every church, I'm like, there's something going on in there.
The thing that I love about Piper is when he sees the suspiciousness of the church going on the next day, when he sees the guy that goes in there, he's like, oh, what are you guys doing in there? He's like, well, it's a kitchen and we have to go in and out. They're the ones that are letting us cook. I'm like, at 4 a.m?
Yeah, I know. I love how he just like checks out the church. Like, he's just like, I'm just gonna go figure out what's going on. Like, bitch, you just got into town. You worked one day. Like, like maybe you should focus. I don't understand why he just automatically goes to look in the church. If, like, because everybody else is out there, like, we just want work. We're just trying to find it. And he's even a drifter moving to place to place. So why are you?
You mean the next day?
Well,
why are you in the church? Why are you snooping around?
I wrote down, nosy ass white dude with a mullet had to go looking around one day when he should have been at work, only to get snuck up upon by the crazy blind preacher.
Yes, and he sits out there for a long time. Like, he watches it with the binoculars until the next day, I think.
Here's my justification on why he did it. Obviously, he doesn't know this place. To me, I'm thinking he's just... Because I don't think he's ever been in a town like that. The little, what do we call it, Hooverville?
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever been in one of those. So to me, I'm thinking he's being what do you want to call it?
He's being cautious?
Yeah, cautious, because it's like, how can people this be good? There's got to be something up. I'm thinking he's just one of those people that has his guard up.
He's a cynic is what you're saying.
There you go. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for a cynic.
Yeah, and I guess you kind of have to be if you're like, on your own and, because you can kind of trust these people, but you're like, this is too much trust already.
Yeah.
Like, I get that, but go snooping around is another thing, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I didn't understand him going in there. And I love how he goes in there, and then as he comes out, his sweet mullet blows in the wind as the helicopter descends.
There's a lot of shots where that
mullet's just blowing in the wind.
When he's running down the hall of the thing later.
So majestic.
The thing that I got thrown off with, especially with the helicopter, because it was a big thing throughout the movie, is like, who the fuck does not notice a freaking helicopter?
I know, they're so loud. You'd be able to hear it if it's directly above your building.
He comes out of the church and all of a sudden it's there. It's like, could you not hear it once you're inside a building?
Yeah, I would.
I know, it's not like the doors were closed and that was like a little shack with like super thin walls. And like, how inept are these cops that when they raided the place, they didn't see that big panel doesn't match up with the panel on top of it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's clearly a false thing right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the best parts of this whole movie are the stupid lines that they have, because they have a lot of great one-liners in this movie. But Roddy goes to tell Keith David character, like, there's something going on over there. There's nobody singing. And he's just like, mind your business. Yeah. Like, you need to just figure out yourself. I'm just here to work. You're just here to work. Like, let's just work. Like, I love how he immediately
puts him in his place. Like, dude, you're snooping around too much. Mind your business.
And he tells him, I walk the white line or something like that. And Roddy Piper says, white line's in the middle of the road. That's the worst place to drive.
Yeah, that's what he says. He tries to be neutral and everything. He's like, I just mind my own business.
You're going to get me killed, damn it.
Yes, these lines are just so great, and they just drip with that 80s, like, badassery. You have to say, like, your voice gets low and you have to say it.
Well, especially with Keith David, because he just has that iconic voice. And every time I see Keith David, Paul, you'll probably back me on this. Every time I hear his voice, I hear Gargoyles. I hear Goliath from Gargoyles.
I always think, I mean, yeah, the voice definitely, but I always think of The Thing for sure, and then randomly Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you actually quote his part quite a lot. And from Requiem for a Dream.
What part is that?
I don't know.
The A to A?
No, you
No. I know which one you're talking about. Okay, I know.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
we were watching this movie. I was like, he's got friends on the other side because Dr.
Okay.
Facilier is who Keith David thinks. That makes me think of.
That's true. That's the other voice.
But-
Wait. The night before when they're watching TV, this is when we get Buck Howard is in this movie.
Yes.
Man, and he plays a bum. Okay, I looked him up on IMDb, and he's got over 162 credits to his name. And I guarantee most of them, because I just kind of skimmed through, most of them are either drifter, homeless man, drunk. A couple of times he was just bearded man, but he's always the same character. He's just kind of like Back to the Future, the homeless guy.
Yeah.
I always remember him from that, and then the other one is Pumpkinhead because he was the guy in the town that his grandson was the one that told the main dude where to go find the witch.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then randomly he was in a softcore porn where he was like Papa Schmutz or something where he went by a different name altogether. So yeah, 162 credits. And back then, he's seen some stuff in his career, but always remember that dude from like everything as always being like a drunk homeless guy.
162 credits, and you're pretty much the same character in all of them, just a different.
Hey man,
variation.
that is a fucking career. To be like,
That is.
Wait, okay, what am I again? Homeless? Okay, got it.
Drink this, lay on bench. Got it.
Crazy drunk pedestrians.
He got himself a role and he stuck
did.
with it. That's
Hey,
awesome.
man.
Yeah, he worked consistently.
And he doesn't look like he had to work out or change his hair
No.
or not grow a beard. It was just like, hey, here
All
you
he had
are,
to do
bud.
was show up.
Hey, we all have a part to play in life, right?
Yes.
Hey man, if you can get paid for playing a drunk your whole life, then why the fuck not?
More power to you. Well, he's still, Roddy Piper's still sitting there all day and night watching this church.
Yeah.
Well, that blonde dude's like, dude, can I have my binoculars back?
My binoculars, right?
You said you were just going to borrow them for a minute. Technically, if I've been holding up to my eyes all day, it's still the same turn.
Yep,
The thing that I love though is how Keith David is working, doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's trying to make a living, and he just keeps going over and he keeps giving Piper the side eye. I'm like, what's this fucker up to?
Yeah, he's like, that fucker's trouble. Like, he keeps looking at him.
He's like, he's like, this fucker is going to cost me my job, and now I got to move, and this fucker's probably going to follow me. He's like, so I got to keep an eye on him.
Get my ass killed.
But he sits outside this church literally all day into the night until this massive raid happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down the cops were like, let's go beat up some homeless people.
They do. They beat the shit out of the old man and the blind priest.
Oh, yeah.
They're just sitting there like they've got him cornered in an alleyway or something. They're just beating the shit out of
They
him.
come with the bulldozer and start destroying everything.
Yeah.
And the people are just kind of standing there watching like, what is going on? I'm like, fuckers, run. The police are coming after you. You all need to disappear.
The blind preacher guy, I was like, if only he had a sword blind cane combo thing.
yeah.
He could have whipped out the sword and just swung it around. Like that's what blind people need. Like
It's true.
Like
That's
if
what
you're
they
in
do
trouble,
need.
like okay, fucking, like I'm gonna get beat up or something. Like boom,
I need the cane sword, please.
Yeah, like the cane sword from that also serves as their stick or whatever. Mm-hmm. Who do I call about this?
I don't know,
You
but
make one.
we need to
Patent
get
pending.
Patent
Patent
pending.
pending.
But still, though, we have the raid of everything, just fucking shit up. And like I said, you have the Hoovervillians just standing around kind of
Yeah,
taking
and
this.
it's like they don't take anything. They just destroy it all.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just like bring the bulldozer in and push everything into massive random piles. Like there's no rhyme or reason for
They just have a moving mosh pit and then just smash everything.
pretty
basically.
much. But then they all branch out and they hide in these abandoned buildings. And I was like, why weren't y'all just staying in there?
Oh no! Like when he comes, after he sees the preacher and the other guy getting shit beat out of him, and he goes
He
around
finds
the corner.
binocular guy?
He finds the
Those
binocular
binocular
guys, and he was like, "Just keep the binoculars. I don't care anymore."
I know he's
They-
sitting there just shaking.
Like when they go into that apartment or whatever, they climb through the window. I was like, "Yeah, somebody does heroin here."
Yeah.
And then they
Oh,
go
for sure.
and they go around the corner, and the one guy's like, "Welcome to the party, guys."
yeah, he didn't welcome to the party.
Did someone start World War III out there? And I'm like, that's the guy that's doing heroin. He was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what happened?
Are
man?
you people real right now? Just came in here to do heroin and you guys just showed up.
But we've learned through random bits here and there, like when Roddy Piper's in the unemployment office. Like, he just came from Denver, who lost all their banks.
Yeah.
Like, nobody has any work, so it appears that people are just drifting around the country in search of work.
It's a very Grapes of Wrath kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Keith David's character, Frank, he said he left his wife and kids in Detroit.
Yeah.
To go find work.
Because the steel mill's all dried up or something like that. So it's clear, like, it's completely throughout our whole country, maybe even the world, that these financial struggles are happening. I think the guy on the news, or the hacker guy, was like, there's no racial, like, justice anymore. There's no something. Very political.
It's
all
really,
very political.
It's really leading to a lot of things that are coming true today. So.
Because the other thing that I do remember Keith David saying was that when they shut down the mills, that the union cut the mills a break, but then when it was time for them to cut them a break, all they did was give themselves raises.
Yeah. Something like that. So, yeah, that happened.
Yeah, that was the scene the first night where they're eating dinner or whatever, and Frank's character, Keith David, Frank, is going on and on about losing his job and all that. And I remember watching that scene in, like, Roddy Piper. I'm like, was he actually starving in real life?
He looks like it.
Because he's just going to town on it.
Yeah,
I'm like, how many
was.
takes was this? And he was like, fuck, I'm so starving.
So hungry. Yeah, so they hide in these abandoned buildings with their heroin-using friend that they found all night until the next morning when everybody's gone. All the cops have left. So they go back to their little hobo campground and try to sift through the things.
Well, everything they just got destroyed, and Piper's character decides to go back into the church to see what's been left over.
I know he wasn't very concerned with his stuff. Like,
he doesn't find it or care about it at all the rest of the time.
No, like, he just goes back into the thing and goes into the fake wall piece and finds the box and then just leaves.
Yeah, he doesn't go look for his backpack, his sleeping bag, nothing.
Like, you have
he's
nothing
just like,
now.
well,
like,
I got
literally
nothing.
now.
Maybe he was thinking he had some money in that box. But when he gets there and he sees it and he's just looking around, he sees a whole bunch of sunglasses. He's like, what the hell is this?
Like fucking shades, man.
Fucking shades. I love the sunglasses, though. It's such an interesting, like, sci-fi element.
I love that the scenes are in black and white too.
Yes, it creates the whole different
It, like, instantly
feel to it.
takes me to, like, a 1950s alien movie. Without like all the cheesiness though, because it's like it's got that animation like aspect to it or whatever, but like it just immediately takes you in like an old classic sci-fi, movie like that from the black and white days.
Yeah,
and it really is just so like. It just fits with what he's doing in this movie, I think.
Yeah, and I really liked the contrast of the ads when he's looking at the ads on the billboards and whatnot. How, like, they're so bright and colorful, but as soon as you put those glasses on, it's just black and white words. And it's such a stark difference, and it really,
It's the main message. It's like, it's almost like it's not even just... It's a filter is what the glasses are doing. They're just removing it filters out all the other shit.
Yeah, all the noise pretty much, But yeah, then we see all the obey and consume. My favorite one is marry and reproduce.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I like that one.
I think my favorite out of all of them is when he goes to the newsstand and he goes to pay for whatever it was that he was going to pay for.
Oh yeah, this is your God on the money.
Money. I think that was my favorite part of all the little subliminal hidden things. That were in there.
I like that one and stay asleep. I always thought that one was a good one.
Yeah.
But he starts seeing this. He starts seeing these aliens all over after he puts the glasses on. Like, there's alien bitches getting their hair done. They're out there getting their nails done. Like, there's alien politicians on the fucking TV.
Well, I think the thing that they slowly start and you start realizing as you watch the movie is that all the aliens were the wealthy people.
Yeah.
Like anybody that had, because that's the first one he sees was that one business Wall Street looking guy.
Yeah, the newspaper stand or whatever, the magazine stand. Yeah.
You see him, and then you start seeing all the other people, and it's just pretty much everybody that you would say was first the upper class. Those seem to be like those were the aliens, and everybody else was just there.
Yes, and I love Roddy Piper's transition into just. There's fucking aliens everywhere. Like, he just starts freaking the fuck out. He's like, formaldehyde face over here.
Yeah,
like,
when he goes into the supermarket, it was hilarious because that one lady comes out to him and what is it that he says? He starts
real fucking ugly is what he
calls real fucking ugly.
He's like, I take these off and she looks normal, but I put them on real fucking ugly.
He just starts roasting her right then and there.
He does.
No, I love his line because then he calls her formaldehyde face. And then when the guy starts yelling at him, he goes, you need a Brazilian plastic surgeon if you can't see this. And I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? But it's like, it's so like just, because a lot of these lines he had written down for like WWF and like he just never used them. Like the whole bubblegum line, he had that written down for like WWF promos that he just never used, and he's like, this would actually be good here. So Carpenter let him do it.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, when he goes outside and he's on the corner, and you see that little speaker on top that's saying "sleep, sleep," that's actually John Carpenter's voice. So technically a director cameo.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I love when he calls her formaldehyde face, and then he falls over, and she's like, "I've got one who can see," and she's tucking into her watch.
And that's the first thing you're like, okay, what? When you start getting the first glimpses of something bigger is going on, because they have their watches, and you see like, okay, what is that? What does that mean? And
then the cops, like, they descend on him. Everybody starts chasing him. And they're like, you look just as ugly to us as we look to you. I just loved that. Like, we're not ugly, you're ugly.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. And I think one of the reasons this movie holds up is it's almost like it was satirizing the 80s while it was still the 80s.
Yeah.
So when we watch this movie and we look at all this stuff, how it's making fun of the 80s, like, this is how we see the 80s now anyway. And it was like he knew all the stupid bullshit that was going on while the stupid bullshit was going on. It was like, here's what they're going to make fun of us about in the future about the fucking 80s. And it was like, it's so spot on with everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I loved, like, he just is like, nope, that's an alien, I'm gonna kill it. And he just starts fucking killing the aliens. Like, he shoots those two cops. He kills those two cops.
I know, he kills those two cops, and I remember, like, there's people in the background just walking by like normal. Like, it was like nothing.
God damn it. It's an LA afternoon.
And then he goes into the rampage in the bike and in the bank and delivers the iconic line that we all know and love that Paul just mentioned. And he just starts targeting all the aliens.
Yes, then he just badasses around the town for a while, because he gets like that gun, straps it on, he's got the ammo across his chest. Like, he's just like, I'm killing all the aliens I see.
Everybody's freaking out, and that one thing that nobody realizes, and later on when he runs back into Frank, when he says, I was like, you got to get out of here, man. He's like, how many people did you kill? He's like, I didn't kill people.
Yeah,
they weren't people.
He keeps using those lines throughout the whole time. Yeah, like he does the "I came here to chew bubble gum and kick ass" line, but he also somebody, when he's calling on the watch,
Mama don't like tattletales.
Tattletales, yeah.
I love that line.
The other thing I love,
Mama don't like tattletales.
The other thing that I love too, and I read this in the trivia, is when he gets out of the bank and he runs into one of the cops that was just a regular cop. And he looks at it and he tells him to beat it. Or what is it? Beat your feet?
Beat your feet, yeah.
And I guess on the outtakes, the guy didn't know what Piper meant. Mm-hmm. So he just started running in place.
Yeah, I would love to see that scene.
Yeah, so they give us that distinction where he's not killing the human ones he sees. He's only killing the aliens.
Only killing the aliens.
I love when he shoots the drone.
Yes, he does. He just straight's like, I don't know what that is.
And then he does another classic line on I forget what it is though, but he does do a quip towards it.
He does say something. I didn't write that one down though.
Yeah, I forget what it was, but he does say something.
I love how the drone is so UFO like. Yeah. It's just silver and like
it's just smooth. Like a mini saucer. So and it really does like keeps you in that 50s sci-fi mode.
The one thing I didn't get though is how if you can only see the things with the glasses when he shot that down, he motions like stuff was falling on him, but you don't see anything fall on him.
Mm-hmm. I got kind of confused with the whole distinction between the glasses and the knot at the end when they put the contacts in, because they only show the black and white a couple more times after that. So I'm like, wait, is he still seeing all in black and white?
I think it just here's what I read in the trivia. There was a reason for that, because they wanted to keep it distinct black and white for when you're seeing that. Mm-hmm. And towards the end, pretty much everything's being revealed. So that means everybody's seeing it. And that's why you start seeing everything in color.
Okay.
Well, I think after the satellite thing, that's when everyone is exposed. And that's when like everyone sees it. So I think that's the only part that's actually in color.
Color is at the end.
So I think you're just supposed to assume that he's seeing it in black and white still or whatever.
With the contacts on? Gotcha. But yeah, he's only killing the aliens around. He's badassing around, saying some really cool lines, and then he just decides to kidnap some woman from a parking garage.
Meg Foster, no less.
Yes, Meg Foster.
I will always remember from a couple of things. The Stepfather movies, which were pretty creepy back in the late 80s. She was in part 2. Her piercing blue eyes, like everyone always remembers from when we were kids, her eyes. She was also, I think, in the year before or a couple years before, she was Evil Lynn in the Masters of Universe movie with Dolph Lundgren.
I remember her from that.
Nice. But Holly is just a lady who's out working, and she gets
She's
kidnapped.
just trying to get home. Nada just pretty much tells her, you're taking me somewhere.
When they get to her house and the neighbor's like, hey, Holly, I'm like, is that Mick Foley? who apparently was dating Liberace.
Apparently, yeah. I like when he's trying to explain about the sunglasses, but he just sounds fucking bananas. He's like, look, lady, if you put these sunglasses on, you're gonna see some aliens.
Well, he does say, it's like, what? Wearing these glasses gives you a high, but the come down is a bitch.
Yeah, it's clear that the glasses are hard to wear. They're making headaches and stuff.
Well, it's like, how do you explain that to somebody rationally and have them believe you the first fucking time?
I know, and him
like,
the whole time.
There's no good way to explain that. Like if you put these on.
No, and Roddy Piper is like, he's so like jumpy throughout the movie too. So he's got that like, what's going on face, and so like you look crazy when he goes to find Keith David after the fact, and he's like behind the trash cans. It's like, psst, psst.
And I love
you look
that.
Crazy, dude.
I love that they get him like a sense of like realism and normalcy. The fact that he's there and he's just fucking tired. Like he's like falling asleep when he's trying to explain to her, and like she tries to get up and he's like, don't fucking push me, lady. And it's just like, you know, like, because he would be in those circumstances, you know, like, probably didn't sleep much the night before because of the raid and all that. And he's been running around all day, and like, it's just random shit, you know, like.
He's coming down from the high.
And they never really show you like that sense of realism in movies like that.
Yeah. And then Holly fucks him up with a bottle.
She just smacks
him. Yeah,
it
was like almost like a roundhouse fucking bottle smash. Like
bottle smash out the fucking window. Like,
just like, oh shit, I didn't mean to kill this guy.
Holly didn't come to play today, ladies and gentlemen.
She didn't want to be kidnapped today.
No. Then he goes, like I said, he goes to find his friend, his one and only non-friend. That's Keith David.
His reluctant friend.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, put the glasses on.
And this is where we get the epic fight.
Yes, the epic fight. It's basically like, I'm going to beat your ass if you don't put these glasses on. And the other guy's like, nuh-uh. And then they just fucking beat each other's ass.
Beating the living shit out of each other for what, 5 or 10 minutes?
Oh, and there's so much. There's biting. There's punching in the dick. Like, there's all kinds of...
Frank yells at Piper because he's like, oh, you dirty son of a...
dirty motherfucker.
Yeah.
He gets headbutted, and then it's just an epic fight scene. And I have to bring up the fact that they, for shot, remade this in South Park.
Yeah.
With Timmy and Jimmy in the cripple fight episode.
It's a great scene because it literally could end, and it appears to end at least 3 times.
Yeah.
And then they just like, nope, fuck you. And then they keep beating the shit out of each other.
Just keep beating the shit out of each other. You think it would be over when he threw him into the car and be like, okay, it looks like he's done. But like, nope, he's not done. Then one of them suplexes the other one onto the ground, and they're just rolling around, and that's where the biting comes in because he bites his hand.
Mm-hmm. I love when he's just like finally like crawls up on his body and is like, put his glasses on. And just like forces the glasses on his face.
When the fight first starts, I love Roddy's line where he's like, put these on or start eating that trash can over there. And I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. But I love it because it's again another scene of like the macho bullshit. Because I love that Frank's like, not this year. And I'm like, okay, this was actually looking like macho bullshit, but it was just Frank reaffirming that this is the year of Frank, and he's not going to put up with it anymore. Yeah. And he's going to work hard and save for his family. So he was like, this is not the year. This is the year of Frank.
Yeah, don't you fuck with me.
I'm not going to do what you want me to do.
Well, the other thing that Piper does say to him, too, is like, I'm trying to save your life and your family's life. And I think that kind of pisses Frank off even more to the point where he starts...
Well, yeah, because all he knows is like, you just fucking killed 2 cops and now you're coming over here like you're gonna fucking help me out. Like, what the fuck? What are you thinking, man?
Like, look, fucker, I just got you 1 week's worth of pay, and I think he only worked for a day, so that's pretty good.
I kind of assumed that they jumped ahead, like, because it was like, okay, wait, you worked one day and then you had the next day off. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
I don't know. They didn't show us that it was extra days or whatnot.
But then what? Frank finally gets the glasses put on him, and he starts freaking out because he's like, "What the fuck is all this?"
Life's a bitch, and she's back in heat.
Yes. Because I love his reaction to it because they just literally beat the shit out of each other. He's putting on the glass, and he's like, "What the fuck am I seeing?" He's like freaking out because he has no idea what the hell's going on. He's like, "Yeah, don't wear those too long."
Yeah, and then they go to a hotel. They go get a room. So they're like, fuck, we need to get out of this alien-infested street area.
when they're in the hotel, they start talking, and Frank's looking out the window, and that's when he gives him this line, like, don't wear the glasses too long and all that. Frank starts getting, like, pissy about it. He's like, where do they come from? And Piper has the line where it's like, well, they don't come from Cleveland. He's like, I don't need this shit, man. They start almost going at it again because I'm like, because it's literally like, what the fuck do you do? Because like, I think that's the moment when they're both like, this is some real shit, man. And what the fuck are we gonna do? And they're both like pissy because they're like, I don't know what to do. You don't know what to do, but we know we need to do something. So
I think
shit, what do we do? I
think that was Roddy's kind of whole intention of like trying to get another person to see it because he's like, I need an adult. I don't know what to do right now.
Need somebody to confirm. He's like, I need
this
somebody.
This is more than I can handle by myself.
Help.
He's like, I need somebody else to reassure me that I'm not the only crazy one. Because the thing is you can kind of sense that Frank is like, what the fuck is going on? And he has questions like we all would. And Piper's
in Frank's defense, if somebody's like, hey, there's aliens, it's like, well, fuck, what do you want me to do about it? Like, why are you telling me this if you ain't got any ideas about fixing, fucker? Like, I was better in the dark.
Because you could see the annoyance and the frustration in Piper because he's asking him all these questions like, motherfucker, you just introduced a whole new world to this guy. Obviously, he's going to have questions. What do you think is going to happen? And you can see the frustration. He's like, I don't know. And like what Paul said, he's like, oh, I didn't know they don't come from Cleveland. And it just kind of sets off the whole thing.
I've known for about 12 more hours than you, motherfucker. I don't know shit.
She's like, I don't have all the answers just like you.
I think he says something along the lines of like, well, when you have some sort of master plan, you let me know.
Yeah, I think that's how they end up. When you fucking know, you let me know. Yeah. And then they go get random food, and I wrote down the box was called "You Need a Biscuit."
You need a biscuit.
I was too into that story that Roddy Piper was telling about how his dad tried to murder him.
Okay,
one time.
So I don't know for sure. I know, and Saul, you might know more than me as well, but I've heard in interviews that Roddy Piper actually did live on the street at a very young age. So I don't know if that particular story was like his actual story or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I know like he ran away from like home at like 13 or 14.
He did run away when he was young.
The streets. So I don't know what caused him to run away, but I'm assuming it wasn't anything good on.
But yeah, that story was intense. I was like, is this a snack kind of story? Like, y'all are eating the first food you've had in the last couple hours.
It's the stories of Piper and trying to calm everything down a little bit, which he may have had a little bit of an embellishment in his real life into this story. So yeah, it was just kind of, to me, it came out of nowhere though, because I mean, you have to have a come down after everything that's going on, and to me, the story just kind of seemed a little out of place.
Yeah, I was like, are we gonna get another backstory about his dad later? Like, is he's gonna like come back and be like
tragic backstory?
Yes, it's a very tragic backstory. But then they're just. And it's such a weird transition because then we just see them walking through like the hotel lobby and they run into that other guy from the hobo camp who was at the church. Like, how would they meet up there?
Well, he sees him with the glasses and then he's like, oh, I see that you guys have, does he say, what is it, that you guys have woken up?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. You guys are awake.
You are awake now. And come to this address later.
He's like, come with me and meet us here. And then that's where you pretty much see what they were actually doing at that church, but now on a different type of scale because, they got contacts now? Yeah,
they've got contacts, which have lower interference, is what she said, I think.
Yeah, because it's got to be, it's got to be something, because if the satellite's projecting a signal that makes everyone not see it, right? So that's got to just go into your brain or something. I
assume.
So the contacts just filter out that signal?
Maybe. But the guy,
at least optically,
he has a pretty cool line. He says, the world needs a wake-up call, and we're going to phone it in.
Reach out and touch someone.
I love these corny one-liners. They make this movie so much fun.
And then they get a tour of the place, and they have, a cache of weapons.
A cache of weapons with a really non-suspicious guy out front guarding the entrance with the door.
The biker?
The biker, a hippie beard dude with a shotgun.
With the giant gun that he was just carrying around.
I know. I love how Gilbert was the guy from the church or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love how Gilbert's like, all right, meet us here tonight. We're having a meeting. Make sure you're not followed, just try and... So, you're going to make sure you're not followed, so you want to be... not suspicious looking.
Yeah.
And I love that the next shot is like they're walking and like Keith David's got his gun just pointed in the air and he's walking down the street. I'm like, that's not suspicious. Wait, hold on. Maybe in this neighborhood that wasn't suspicious. They're like, there's a couple of dudes walking around with a gun, like just don't look over there.
With his sunglasses still on at night. Yeah.
Hey, crackheads live in neighborhoods and they have guns sometimes. You don't know what the fuck goes on, man.
Fair.
But I do love the fact that when they do get into that building, and like I said, they go in there and the person looks at them and says, "Oh, you guys don't need to wear those sunglasses in here. We're all normal humans."
We're all humans. And then the lady he once kidnapped shows up and is like,
look who it is. I love how he gives him that look and he's like, he goes to Frank and he's like, I gotta go talk to somebody. I wrote that and I'm like, he's like, I may have found us a shower for tonight. Hold on, I'll be back. Do what you gotta do, man.
After this, I was never like, yeah, she's on their side. I was always like, nope, from this point on. Because she shows up and she's like, hey, sorry I tried to kill you. And then explosions happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so she double-crossed them and brought them.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm like, this is suspicious.
Yeah.
It was all too suspicious because, because what you find out later on is...
Bitch, I don't trust your eyes.
Yeah.
They pierced my soul.
Because you find out later on that she did double cross them, so it kind of makes all sense that, okay, now she's got to be their end to find out where they are. And then everything goes down, and then they have a big, huge, giant ass shootout.
Yeah, well, they have a giant shootout, and they're just fucking killing these aliens again, right and left. Like, just shoot. And these are cop aliens. They're just fucking picking them off the roof. They're picking them off down the street.
The thing that I found funny when they did raid this new compound is how, I want to say it was Gilbert, the guy from the camp, when he picked up his semi-auto gun, he wasn't pointing it at anybody. He was just pointing it straight at the ground.
Probably.
And we get when they bust into the meeting room or whatever, that random like office building, what the fuck it is, warehouse, right?
Warehouse thing, whatever.
And then when they're going out, when they finally leave the building, and you get everybody shooting, you get the random Al Leong appearance in this movie. Did you catch that?
No.
Al Leong. Okay. He's not credited in as a cast member. He's actually credited under stunts. But Al Leong was in every fucking 80s and 90s action movie.
He was random Asian guy.
He's the random Asian American man. He was in Big Trouble in Little China.
Okay.
If you don't know, you will know him from Die Hard. He is the Chinese terrorist that eats the Nestle bar at the end.
Okay.
So that guy, he's in there. He's in a real quick scene where he kind of comes out, starts shooting a gun to go across like an alley, and then he ends up getting shot or something.
Okay.
As like Roddy and Frank just go from the back, like behind them. So he's been in like every movie in the fucking 80s and 90s. So and he's random part in there, but he was listed under stunts actually in this movie and not as like a character. So,
that's awesome. I'm gonna have to, when I rewatch it, I'm gonna have to look for him.
Yeah, that's right before they go back behind those pallets that are just going to hide them forever.
Yeah, and the biker guy with the shotgun is just boom, shooting down the street.
Go back just a little bit because we forgot to mention how when they were in that little new warehouse thing, there was one guy who figured out and showed them that, hey...
Oh, yeah, the watches.
They communicate through watches, and he's like, I still haven't figured it all out, but you can listen in on what they're saying. And then he mentions about how they disappear, and it's like, have you ever seen that? I was like, I saw one because earlier when what is it, when they're at the bank?
Yeah, when he goes, Mama don't like tattletales.
Yeah.
And the guy disappears.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they get to their little area where they're cornered, they can't get away. Keith David is sitting there trying to listen into it, and he does something to where he opens up that little...
He taps it, and it sparks, and he drops it.
Well, I think... because I think the watch says, like, your watch is fucked up, so get into this tube, and we'll fix your watch. Yeah. Just bring it with you or whatever. Mm-hmm. So... It was kind of just like dumb luck on their point that like he dropped it and it's like, all right, the watch is broken.
I know. I love how though they're like, should we go in there? I don't know. And then Roddy Piper's like, well, we got a better chance in there than we got out here because they're just getting shot.
Well,
at
I love how when he does that,
continuously.
he's looking at it, he's playing with the watch, and Piper's telling him, Frank. He's like, what? Frank? What? He's like, Frank. Like, and then he looks up. He's like, "Oh shit, we're being surrounded now." He's like, we need to figure something out.
Just fucking get in there.
Yep, get in there.
And he tells him to go first.
I love the ship at the end because it shows how it's all a facade.
Yeah.
Because they're walking down these like tunnels, they're industrial looking tunnels. They're not nice, but then you go into these like glorious rooms and these beautifully decorated like areas, but it's all fake because it's a giant ship or whatever.
I just took it was like part of it was underground other parts of it were like either the portal thing or whatever that was, where it was like the airport part of it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It was a weird mix. That it's like I took it as just like almost like underground shit, like in like Stranger Things at the mall.
Yeah,
like they just had an underground thing that nobody knew about, kind of thing.
Yeah,
but obviously that had to have been like a portal to go to the other planets or whatever. But
I always just had thought that it was like those little watches took you back to the ship. And that's how when they saw the portal thing, it's why it was in space.
because how would they ended up at the TV studio? Because then he goes up to the fucking roof, and that's
they're portals, man. It's portals.
But but they never portal anywhere. He portals down through the underground.
I don't know. We need to talk to John Carpenter about
They made a hole in the street, and they went into the underground, and then they were in the tunnels that were underneath everything.
And that took them back to...
But why were they just out into the open space then when they go to that space transportation area?
Because that was a portal window.
Yeah.
Do you know how, like, in Star Wars, they just have those open things where the ships can come through and then land?
Bay doors.
I guess.
It's just still like a window portal thing.
Yeah.
I guess.
What's on the other side of that just depends on what kind of portal. It's like Stargate.
Yeah. There you go.
I always like the space transportation thing. I was like, that's very Jetsons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you get in your little capsule and fly away.
So could humans do that then, or was that just aliens?
I don't know. And if you're taking, like that guy had one guy had like a suit bag. I'm like, do you need that where you're going? You need your suit?
I know, like if you could just teleport something like that, then why would you ever need to go more than 5 minutes before you need to be there?
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Like just teleport, like if I had a meeting, like, oh shit, just boom.
That's why they haven't made teleporting a thing, because then humans would just be like, nope, not doing anything.
The transportation industry
3 minutes
would crumble.
before.
We wouldn't need cars or planes anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
I love how they basically sucker that old hobo friend into showing them around the whole ship.
They didn't sucker him to do anything. His dumbass just let everything out the bag.
In the scene where they come in to bulldoze the whole camp and like the cops were going up to him, I was like, that's the scene, because it shows like two cops going up to him, Buck, and he's like backing up, and I'm like, that's where they're like, you're white, come with us to re-education camp.
Yes.
We can use you.
Yes. You're white. You want some money so you can keep everything quiet?
Listen.
Sure.
Yeah, so that was the scene where they were like they were going to turn him or whatever, or talk him into the whole thing. So, yeah, I love when he gets there. He's like, hey, guys. He's like, I'm glad you made it to the party. Like,
yeah.
It was like, I knew I liked you guys from when I met you. I knew there was something special about you, too.
Yeah, why didn't you guys dress up? Because they're all gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They haven't showered.
But like you said, they didn't trick him into doing anything. That dude just let the cat out the bag completely.
2 days after they beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
He completely I love how he just did that. He's like, just started showing them everything.
You caught me monologuing again.
Yeah. He just showed everything. He's like, oh, come here.
He did. I love how he just walks him into the TV station. He's like, look, this is where the thing comes out. Like, what?
This is where they come from.
It was good that it was his character, though, and that's why it makes sense, because in the beginning, he was so like, oh, the stupid shit, this and that, blah, blah, blah. They're doing this and that, and all of a sudden he's like, hey guys, like it was the perfect character to do that with, because once he was in there, he's like, because it was kind of one of those things where he was like, just, I know these guys are my friends.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can I show them the inside of the studio? Like, he was like that guy that was like, I'm a big shot now and I can do whatever I want. Yeah. So he was the perfect character for them to be like, oh, hey, why don't you show us this or show us that? Because like, as soon as you meet this guy, the new version of him or whatever, he is that guy that's like, I love to just, brag about all these things that I have now, because he's never had shit kind of thing.
Let me just showboat. And not.
He does, but he was an alcoholic the whole time. Like.
Okay, I gotta go back for a bit, but because when they go into that ballroom the first time and the guy that's delivering his speech, I'm like, this guy looks like a fat version of the Monopoly guy.
He did. He did. I love how he's just like, he's up there talking and then
the
he
human
waits.
Power elite.
Yes.
I think that's what he calls them. So I'm like, yeah. But yeah, there would be sellout people like that, I feel. So yeah.
And if you look, a whole room of white people. A whole room of white people.
Yes.
Well, that's why they approached Buck, because he was like, you're a white person.
Yep.
You'll fall for this.
Mm-hmm. And then, so they just automatically teleport somehow to the TV station that Holly works at.
How does it teleport them if they
don't
walk
know.
up the stairs?
Do they walk upstairs?
Yes.
Yes, remember? Because they start sounding the alarm after they shoot those guards. Because all the guards are talking on their PKE meters.
No, I'm talking about when they walk into the TV area with the guy, and he's like, "Can you get him back here? Or can I show them?"
That
They
was
just
if-
walk off of
No,
the little area.
Because they were in a quiet room outside of the actual TV studio. So,
Yeah.
on the other side of that wall was the TV station where the news was on. So what part are you thinking they teleported anywhere?
How did they just walk from the little hallways?
Because they were downtown under the street and they walked into that one room. He's like, all right, if we go over here,
So
it takes you to the TV station.
They're so bad at hiding that they just have the TV station. They're just completely infiltrated the TV station, and
Yes.
How is it so bad at hiding if they're just like,
they've just
who's gonna
connected
stop
all
us?
the stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, because
underneath.
that's where the signal was coming from.
Yeah.
From that TV station.
I don't-
On the roof.
I suppose.
What movie did you watch?
It's like the Angie. It's like the underground in Stranger
No.
Things. Everything is connected.
See, I didn't think
Yes,
that.
just
I
replace,
took it as they were teleporting everywhere.
just replace the mall with the TV station. It's
Yeah.
exactly the same
No.
thing.
Yeah. No, that's the one thing you got to think about it. Like Paul said, think of the mall as the TV station,
Let's go to the
and that's what it is.
No, because that makes me think of it's like Resident Evil. And I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense.
How does it not make
Yes.
sense?
No, I like it better as a ship, so that's what it's going to be in my head.
No.
Yep.
So you're thinking it's more like Predator 2 where there was the ship underground?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, that's
It's
what I
not.
was
It's not what
thinking.
it is.
Yes,
Everything is
that's how I
connected
took
by
it.
intricate tunnels.
Well, you guys can be wrong. That's
Underground
fine.
tunnel.
I'm fine with you
We're
guys being
not,
wrong.
There's two of us who think
Get
otherwise.
John Carpenter on the phone.
Kim, what did you think it was? Do you think it was a ship, or did you just think it was underground tunnels? You've seen this movie with me before.
She doesn't want to side with Angie
No, she doesn't.
because she knows Angie's wrong, but she doesn't want to not side
No,
with Angie.
that's fine. I
Because of
can.
woman power.
I'll stand alone. The cheese can stand alone.
Okay, so here's what we do then. Everybody who's
cheese
listening to this
now?
Hey,
podcast,
cheese is delicious. Fuck off.
Wait, why are you cheese? Where did cheese come from?
That's a thing. You've never heard that? The,
The
cheese stands alone?
No, what the
It's
fuck
a
does that
thing.
mean?
how the hell do we
It's a
get to start
thing.
talking about cheese?
This is another crunchy mom thing.
Yes. The cheese stands alone.
Well, okay, we were poor brown kids. We didn't have nursery rhymes. They're like, no,
you
you're gonna
didn't have nursery.
no, you're gonna work. It was our nursery rhyme.
Yes.
Get to work. I'm a baby.
It's like we ain't got no time for nursery rhymes.
Get outside and do something.
And then Holly comes back just enough time to be a
and
dick.
kills motherfucking Frank.
So sad. Like, just why? Why did Frank have to die?
He didn't have to die.
Yeah, he didn't have to die.
Fucking
She just
Holly.
shot him in the fucking head. That
Everybody dies because
Okay.
even fucking Roddy Piper goes down at the end.
Okay, then here's a question, right? Was Holly planted in their first meeting with Roddy
Maybe.
when she comes out and he kidnaps her?
But I
was
would-
she planted, or was that just by chance and she happened to be working for them and blah blah blah?
I
I'm
would
gonna go
have
by
to say
chance.
it's by chance because otherwise, if she was planted, I don't think she would have, bottled to the head, thrown him out the window kind of
Yeah.
a thing. If
But if she didn't do that, then how is he going to believe anything after that? Like, that's a normal reaction if someone kidnaps you. But if she just believes him, like, oh, there's aliens and I can see them with these glasses and all that, that's a little too easy for me. Because
I don't think so because I
Look-
think the
because look what-
glasses provide proof
yeah, but
of what he
look
was
what
saying.
it took fucking him and Frank to come to that agreement to finally put the fucking
Well,
glasses
they're
on.
two dudes who can't use their words and
Yes.
have feelings, so that's
Yes.
why it took
Well,
them so.
no, it's because this is the year of Frank and he wasn't putting up with it.
yeah.
No,
Not this year.
these two dudes couldn't be friends because they had never had friends before, and they had to figure it out. But no, Holly, I don't think Holly was planted because I don't think she would have pushed him out the window. But I do think that everything after the fact, after
Was-
she pushed him out of
yeah.
the window, she knew about.
Yeah.
After the fact, yeah, I don't think that
They
she
got
was
themselves into
planted.
a happy accident because they can be like, okay, he knows you. We know he doesn't know anybody else in this city other than.
So then maybe she was just after the fact sent to infiltrate the group, but then it was just circumstance that he happened to be there that night.
Yeah,
I'm going with
I
that.
think so. Yeah, I think it was all chance. But yeah, she kills Frank in a real dick move.
Oh, poor Frank.
And he didn't
have to
even
go out
see
like
it
that.
coming. She just puts the gun to his head and pulls the trigger, man.
Yeah.
And poor Piper when he gets up there. Where's Frank?
Which leads me to my inevitable sequel that happens 50 years later.
Paul wants a follow-up.
Where it's about Frank's daughter that's coming to look for
Do
Frank.
you remember, I don't know how well your memory is, Paul, but do you remember when we were still working at the same place we worked at and I told you that there was a movie that was coming around, I want to say around December of, 2012, 2013, that gave me those vibes. It was like a combination of The Matrix, of this, and there was a third movie. I forget the name of it. I'm going to have to look it up, though. But I was like, this is like an updated version of They Live.
What movie was it?
I'm trying to remember the name of the movie.
That was a horrible story. I thought you were going to tell me the name of the movie.
And now Paul's going to have to figure out the
I'm trying to think of the name of the movie.
Hey, you remember that one movie? Look it up.
2012. But then he gets up to the top and he finds the dish where the satellite is coming from, and that's when he says, "Where's Frank?"
The dish where the satellite's coming from?
The dish where the signal is coming from. The signal was what I meant to say.
The signalite dish?
The signalite dish.
The signalite dish.
And then he kills everybody.
Okay, which is... I wrote down, not Frank, Holly, you bitch. He's got a wife and kids in Detroit.
I know. They're never going to know what happened. Okay, so yeah, Holly kills Frank. Roddy Piper's up there about ready to shoot the dish when Holly comes in. He's like, "Where's Frank? Where's Frank?"
What'd you do to Frank, Holly?
Yeah.
What'd you do to him?
And I love how he's just like, don't shoot it. And Roddy Piper's like, "Fuck you." Shoots Holly, and then shoots the dish, and then gets shot himself.
Yes.
But goes out.
Wait, does Holly die, though?
They don't say if she dies, but he does shoot her.
She had
He
to
does
die.
shoot her.
Mm-hmm. But
he was upset with his flip.
I did read that.
At the end, when he flips off the
why?
dish.
Yeah.
Because he
did
to be
this.
his like final act of defiance.
Yeah, his finger wasn't. He's like,
It wasn't erect enough.
Yeah, that's literally. He's like, it should have been straight and more like,
Oh no, I thought it worked. He was dying. He got shot, man. You're not gonna
Well,
have.
that's probably what he was doing in the scene. Where like, I'm dying. I barely have energy to flip this off.
Yeah, like I always bought it, and I get it. It was the final act of defiance, but hey, I thought him shooting Holly and then the dish was a pretty good go out, man.
So, which was your favorite exposed alien? I love the bar one and the sex one.
The bar one is always my favorite because
everyone's looking at him like, what? Like, he just doesn't realize. I love that.
I always love it how he's just like, shit. Like, he doesn't move. And I always just thought he's like, fuck.
I always took it that he didn't notice and everyone's like, what the fuck?
Well, they were all watching the TV, though, and they saw the people on the TV. And that's when everybody was like, what's going on? And they all turn around and he's right there.
He's the only one that's at.
Yeah.
Like
Okay, well, then that begs the question, do they never see?
I'm wondering because would the signal affect them?
Yeah, because that's what I'm thinking. Like, maybe he didn't know then because he's like, I always see that and I always know which ones are which.
Yeah.
Maybe. I just always took it as he was like, if I stay still, they can't see me. I'm like a T-Rex.
You can't see me. I gotta get out of here. Shit.
Wouldn't it be crazier, though, if, like, the veil dropped, right? And everybody could see, and then you're just, like, right next to one who you were talking with, and then, like, you're kind of shocked, and then they just beep their watch and fucking disappear? Like, what the fuck would you do?
Okay, imagine, like, a husband and wife, and, like, one of them.
Oh, no.
And, like, like, one of your kids out of the other. Like, what the fuck? Like... Yeah, that would be more.
I feel lied to. I feel
that would be more crazy than I
Yeah.
think just at the bar. Be like, what the fuck?
Oh no! Ugh. And really, they came here for capitalism.
I guess.
That's what the main goal was.
The stuff that I was reading in the trivia was saying that like the stuff that the conspiracy guy is alluding to, and I thought this conspiracy guy was blind because he kept having his eyes closed or he kept doing that thing.
I always thought he was just looking down, like he didn't want to make eye contact with the TV.
Here's the other thing. And here's the other thing. All right. His fucking videos, I'm like, do you want people to believe you? Then you need to stop having videos to where it looks like you're letting someone who's blind work the camera. I'm like, why are you so out of focus and so like zoomed in too close and the camera's moving? Like, that's why no one will ever believe you.
I always
if there were normal people that this like, look, there are aliens here, like here's this, then maybe people would believe you. But I guess we don't even need that, seeing as all the reptilian ones that people believe. There was the guy that believes the reptilian the conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
He cites this movie a lot as like he's like, here's proof that this is happening. Like, we've known since 1988. Like,
Okay. Cool. You say to those people.
So yeah, I guess you don't need to not look or sound crazy to have people believe you. So never mind. I strict that from the record.
This is true. This movie is so great. I love this movie. And with the TV guy, I always thought like that was like an homage to Romero's crazy like TV and personalities. You know, and the end of the world is coming.
There's a news clip. I think it's either news. I don't think it's that guy's rantings, but there's a spot in like the news when someone's watching TV where someone mentions like filmmakers like Carpenter and Romero need to blah blah blah, and it kind of just trails off. So it's kind of another little cameo of their work in there, kind of.
Well, Carpenter's style has always kind of complemented Romero's, I would say. I mean, they're both very political within their messages and their storylines, but they do it in a way that, I mean, not this film, obviously, because this one's pretty on the nose with the whole running of everything. But, you know, their feminism stuff in Halloween, there's all kinds of stuff everywhere. It's all political. And that's why we did this one. Because the world has felt very much like they live for a while.
Yes.
But we're not going to talk about any of that. I think we've wrapped up everything. You guys want to do final thoughts?
I just love this movie.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's so fun. This movie holds up. The message holds up. It's a super fun sci-fi craziness time.
Yes.
Good time was had by all.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And you watch this movie for nothing more than just watching Keith David and Roddy Piper beat the shit out of each other for a good 5 minutes.
Yes.
It's just so fun.
And you can't go wrong with John Carpenter either.
Yeah. You get the 50s vibes from this, but you still get Romero vibes. Like Paul said, you can feel it as a kind of a Western effect. This movie is just all around fun.
That it is. Okay, so let's go off the little trivia things that Kim wrote down on our board. They had, and I did notice them, the PKE meters at the very end when they were trying to find...
The humans?
Yeah, the humans. They had PKE meters.
Did they?
Yeah, when they were running around in the...
I did see one, but I was like, what is he doing?
Yeah, they had it when they were running around in the office building, the TV station.
Yeah.
They had PKE meters. I'm like, are those PKE meters? I'm like, yep, they're PKE meters. Piper left WWF to film this movie because I know Vince McMahon didn't want him to do it. So he said, fuck it, I'm just going to do this anyway. And you don't need me. Which actually ended up benefiting him because he said when he left to do this movie, now he was worth more because of the movie.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
I remember the time it came out and I remember thinking like, holy crap, like he's going to be in a movie. Like that's awesome. Like it didn't really happen back then. And so this movie is really kind of credited with making a transition from being like a TV wrestler guy to
movies,
being in movies and stuff like that. And because he was really kind of the first one, because then, you know, obviously after this, you had Hulk Hogan doing it. You know, Andre the Giant did it after that. Like
you had Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, like it really kind of just opened that avenue as for like something that they could also do. I mean, because they're acting anyway, so what's the difference? Especially
they're doing
if you're,
acting and stunts and all that shit.
And especially if you're just doing action movies and shit like this. So I did want to point out they had toyed with a lot of different actors to play the lead, with at least thinking about before. Carpenter decided that he wanted someone gruff and kind of rough looking, and that's when he kind of turned to Roddy after seeing him in WrestleMania 3, I think it said. And so he thought, you know, like he'd be great for this character. Carpenter wrote the character of Frank specifically for Keith David because he loved how he worked with him in The Thing. So he's like, that character I wrote specifically for him to be in the movie. And I wanted someone that could be, you know, an equal kind of guy with Frank in, you know, Nada's character. But John Carpenter thought about a famous actor to play Nada, such as Tom Cruise, Patrick Swayze, Sylvester Stallone, David Hasselhoff, and Johnny Depp before he decided to go with Roddy Piper. So
the only one that I don't see doing this movie, doing it any justice, would have been Tom Cruise, because
I don't see Johnny Depp being
or Johnny Depp.
I couldn't imagine Johnny Depp and Keith David together. I think that's
that would.
The other ones I could kind of see. I could see Swayze. I can see Stallone.
See Swayze. I was like,
Swayze at the time I think would have been interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, you look at Roadhouse, and he could totally play that kind of a character.
Which
you know,
Keith David was also in, by the way.
Stallone, I could see.
Yes, he was. God damn it!
Where in Roadhouse?
He was one of the bartenders.
Oh. I'm trying to remember.
That's it.
I just remember glorious locks
That's
of
it.
hair.
We're
in
going-
Roadhouse. I can't think of anything else.
We're going home and watching Roadhouse.
and
That's
there's
it.
and was it a
Roadhouse.
polar bear?
Roadhouse. Polar bear
Fell on me.
And that was it, people.
And that was Roadhouse.
That was They Live. We're coming back next week with Bram Stoker's Dracula, Paul's favoriteest movie.
Dracula.
Yes.
Why is it my favoriteest movie?
You've made me watch this movie literally over 100 times.
Okay, I'm just gonna say
Literally.
this. No, I'm just gonna
Literally.
say this going into Bram Stoker's. Right, I love Bram Stoker's. It's a great movie, even with so many like just bad like cuts in there, like so many movie mistakes. Like someone's holding a hat, now the hat's gone. Now they're holding it again. Wait, now that person was sitting on the hat.
thing that's
like,
gonna
there's
be-
so many of those in there, but I still love this movie because it is a great epic movie and it's Gary fucking Oldman. That's all I have to say
The
about
thing that's going to be hard for me not to picture is Mr. Burns.
Yeah.
it. I can get it. I could see it.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that next week when we come back.
Gary fucking Oldman.
It is Gary
All right.
fucking Oldman. He was in Harry Potter.
No, he was in Dracula.
But you guys can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/scarynerd. You can go to scarynerd.com for more horror entertainment news. And you can email us at podcast@scarynerd if you have any questions, comments, concerns. If not, we'll be back next week with Bram Stoker's Dracula. So we will see you then.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.